Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayapataka Swami Maharaj.
The following is a reading given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami on June 20th, 1986 at New Panihadidam in Atlanta, Georgia. The reading is from the Sri Krishna Namasatakam.
Did we go over the prayers of Rupa Goswami to the holy name of Krishna last time I was here? The Krishna Namasatakam? That means that Prabhupada said to get forgiven from offenses to the holy name. 10 offenses to... Anyway, nobody here ever commits offenses against the holy names. So then, someone has to bring that. It's about 5-6 pages, typewritten pages. It says on it, Xerox copied, says the Sri Krishna Namasatakam is about the middle of the page. It has Sanskrit and some translation about the holy name. So while we're waiting, there's a few verses. Because Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami, Haridas Thakur was born in a family of Mohammedans, and Rupa Goswami considered himself to be fallen because he had been the prime minister or finance minister under the Mohammedan government. So they used to stay a little bit outside of, a little bit distant from the temple in Puri. And there they were receiving remnants of Lord Chaitanya's prasad every day. When they would take it, they would start to dance in ecstasy to get that Mahaprasad of Lord Chaitanya. Then Lord Chaitanya went to see Rupa Goswami at the place of Haridas Thakur, and Lord Chaitanya said to him, Krishna re bahir nahi kori ho brajja hoite, brajachari Krishna kabu na jana kahate. Translation: do not try to take Krishna out of Vrindavana, for he does not go anywhere else at any time. Krishnanya yadu sambhuto ya purna sostyata para Vrindavanang parityaja sakvachinnaiva gacchati. The Krishna known as Yadu Kumara is Vasudeva Krishna. He is different from the Krishna who is the son of Nanda Maharaj. Yadu Kumara Krishna manifests his pastimes in the cities of Mathura and Dwarka, but Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, never at any time leaves Vrindavana. Purport: this verse is included in Laghu Bhagavatamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami. Atoko hi Mahaprabhu madhyana cholila, Rupa Gosai mone kichu bishmoi ahoila. After saying this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to perform his noontime duties, leaving Sri Rupa Goswami somewhat surprised. Pritak natak korite sattabama agya dilo, Janilu pritaka nataka korite prabhu agya hoilo. Satyabhama ordered me to write 2 different dramas, Srila Rupa Goswami thought. Now I understand that this order has been confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purbe dui natok chilo akatra rochana, dui bhaga koriebe korimu gatana. Formerly I wrote the 2 dramas as one composition. Now I shall divide it and describe the incidents in 2 separate works. Dui nandi prastavana dui sangatana, pritak koriya liki koriya bhavana. I shall write 2 separate invocations of good fortune and 2 different introductions. Let me think deeply about the matter and then describe 2 different sets of incidents. Purport: the 2 works are Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava. Vidagdha Madhava describes pastimes in Vrindavana, and Lalita Madhava describes pastimes in Dwarka and Mathura. Ratha Jatrai Jagannatha Darshana Kodila, Ratha Agre Prabhu Nitya Kirtana Dekhila. During the Rath Yatra ceremony, Rupa Goswami saw Lord Jagannath. He also saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing and chanting in front of the Rath. Prabhu Nitya Shloka Sune Shri Rupa Gosai Sei Shlokarta Loya Shloka Kodila Tatai. When Rupa Goswami heard a verse uttered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the ceremony, he immediately composed another verse dealing with the same subject. Purbe sei sab kotha kodiyachi varnan tatapiya kohiye kichu shankepe kotan. I have already described all these incidents, but I still wish to add briefly something more. Samanaka sloka prabhu porena kirtane kene shloka pore iha keho nahi jane. Generally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited a verse while dancing and chanting before the Rath, but no one knew why he was reciting that particular verse. Sabe eka sarupa gosai slokera artha jane shlokanurupa pada prabhu ke korana sadhane. Only Sarup Damodar Goswami knew the purpose for which the Lord recited that verse. According to the Lord's attitude, he used to quote other verses to enable the Lord to relish mellows. Rupa Gosai Prabhur Janiya Abhiprayi Sei Artha Shloka Koila Prabhure Jebai. Rupa Goswami, however, could understand the intention of the Lord, and thus he composed another verse that appealed to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. How many you got?
3, I think. No, 2.
You have 1, 2. Yau kaumara sa eva hi varastha eva chaitrakshapas te chonamilita malati surabhaya praudha kadambanila sa chaivasmi tathapi tatra suratta vyaparadila virao revadotha siveta sita rutale cheta samutkantate. That very personality who stole my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of malati flowers is there, and the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet still my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place in the bank of the Reva, under the Vetasi tree. That is my desire. This is the verse recited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the verse composed by Srila Rupa Goswami. Priyoso yang Krishna sahachari kurukshetra militas tatahang saradha tad idang ubayo sangama sukam tatapyanta kelan madura murali panchama jushe manome kalindi pulina vipanaya sprihayati. My dear friend, now I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would still like to go to the bank of the Jamuna, beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute, playing the 5th note within that forest of Vrindavana. So then Rupa Goswami wrote this prayer, put it in the roof of his house, and went down to take a bath in the sea. In the meantime, Lord Chaitanya came to see Rupa Goswami. Then nobody was there. He saw the verse written in the house. So he picked it up and read it. When Rupa Goswami came back, offered his dandavat. Then the Lord said that, my heart is very confidential. How did you know my mind in this way? After saying this, he firmly embraced Rupa Goswami. Lord Chaitanya was astonished that nobody could understand what his intention was, what his idea was, but how Rupa Goswami could understand. He even asked Rupa Damodar, how is it that Rupa Goswami can understand? He said, no one can otherwise understand this meaning. So, Rupa Damodar, you must have told Rupa Goswami. Or rather, Rupa Damodar said, well, to Lord, you must have told him already. Then Lord Chaitanya said that, well, I bestowed my mercy upon him in Prayag. By giving him my transcendental potency, he's been able to understand all these things. Now, you have to give him more instruction so he can understand the transcendental mellows. Then Sri Damodar said, yes, as soon as I saw the unique composition of this verse, I could understand that you had given your mercy to him. Sri Rupa Goswami ki. So Rupa Goswami is especially blessed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has the potency of the Lord given to him. So, present they gave me. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada says that we are to avoid the 10 offenses. So there is no way to atone for any of these offenses. It is therefore recommended that an offender at the feet of the holy name continue to chant the holy name 24 hours a day. Constant chanting of the holy name will make one free of offenses, and then he will gradually be elevated to the transcendental platform on which he can chant the pure holy name, and thus become a lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is recommended that even if one commits offenses, one should continue chanting the holy name. In other words, the chanting of the holy name makes one offenseless. In the book Nama Kaumudi, it is recommended that if one is an offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, he should submit to that Vaishnava and be excused. Similarly, if one is an offender in chanting the holy name, he should submit to the holy name and thus be freed from his offenses. One should be very humble and meek and offer one's desires and chant prayers composed in glorification of the holy name, such as Ai Mukta Kulaya Rupasyamanam and Nivita Tarsaya Upagiyamanat. One should chant such prayers to become free from offenses at the lotus feet of the holy name. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Verse 23-24 purport. So, part of the etiquette book which I'm writing was on chanting the holy name. So 10 offenses is an important part, but how to get free from the effect of these offenses is also important. So then I researched what is this Ayi Mukta Kulaya Upasyamanam prayer, and it turns out it's the Sri Sri Krishna Namasatakam by Sri Rupa Goswami. So that was printed without the Sanskrit in the ISKCON World Review last year. But it's very profound, and I don't know, ISKCON World Review, if just by reading it, how much we were able to pick it up. But it's something good to meditate upon. So I reproduced the section here on this verse. The verse 1, Sanskrit is Nikhil Sruti Mauli Ratnamala Jyoti Nirajita Pada Pankajanta Ai Mukta Kulaya Rupa Samanam Paritastvam Harinama Sangsrayami. Translation. You don't have the first verse.
Translation. O my dear Harinam, holy name of Krishna, you are identical with Lord Sri Krishna's transcendental form according to all of the Upanishads. The Upanishads personified glorify the effulgence emanating from your lotus feet. In other words, all of the personified Vedas taking shelter at your lotus feet sing your transcendental glories with chosen verses, and yogis, rishis, and all kinds of liberated souls appropriately worship your lotus feet. Therefore, I completely surrender myself unto your lotus feet.
First thing to note is how the prayer to the holy name is being made as in a personal form. Sometimes a person might fall into considering that the holy name is just some mundane vibration or just a vibration, and not realize that because Krishna is absolute, whether he's in a visible form, a three-dimensional form, or whether he's in a form as a sound vibration, that it's personal. Just as we pray that Nam Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Chaitanya means it's living, it's cognizant. He's living, he's cognizant. Rasa Vigraha, it's a form of transcendental nectar, of mellows, rasa. Purna Suddha Nitya Mukto Ha Vinatwana Manamino. There's no difference between the holy name and the Lord's form. So, the impersonal Brahmajyoti is emanating from the lotus feet of the holy name. The personified Vedas are taking shelter at the holy name. Great yogis, rishis, and liberated souls, they worship the lotus feet of the holy name. And Rupa Goswami surrenders himself completely at the lotus feet of the holy name. Verse 2. Jaya nama deya muni brindageya janaranjanaya paramakshaраkrite tvavanadaraadapi managudiritam nikhilogratapa pataling vilumpasi. O my dear Krishna Nam, holy name of Krishna, you are eternally glorified by the realized souls, just to attract the consciousness of conditioned souls. Throughout the material universes, out of your causeless mercy, you manifest in an audible form of transcendental sound vibration. Your mercy is so great that when someone chants you accidentally or in neglect, even for one time, you destroy inconceivable quantities of their accumulated sinful reactions from many births together. My dear holy name of Krishna, all glories unto you. Just like the Ramanayins or the Mohammedans who say haram. Haram means infidel or blasphemy. Or so many other type of just accidental chanting. Where one, just out of neglect or just somehow they just chant, they don't even know what they're doing. Still, the Lord is so merciful that inconceivable quantities of accumulated sinful reactions for births together are destroyed just by accidentally chanting. Krishna was visible on the planet 5,000 years ago. You could see him in the Kurukshetra battle. You could see him afterwards when he met Radharani and the Vrindavan Vasis in Kurukshetra. You could see him in Vrindavan and Mathura and Dwaraka. He was visible at that time. That was his causeless mercy to come down into the material world. But then how would the people today get mercy? Because today he's not visible unless you have real spiritual vision. But he is audible when you say his name. And so that holy name has come down to attract the consciousness of the conditioned souls. Otherwise, how would they get out of this material universe? What is their hope? The name is so merciful that Krishna Nam, the holy name of Krishna, manifests. What if the name of Krishna wouldn't vibrate? What if it remained secret, as previously people didn't know the name of God? They would just say God, God, God. And then they think of some old man with a beard, or they don't know God. It's just. Then the Lord manifests Himself, actual names that are not different from Him, not just titles. Just like if you always call a person, supervisor, in their telephone or something, Mr. Supervisor, right? And it's a big difference calling a guy by his title, God, then calling him, Bill, how's it, or Krishna, Ram, Govinda, Gopala. So, this is the causeless mercy of the Lord, because it's these transcendental names, more than the titles or indications or abstractions. It's the direct, personal, holy name which attracts the conditioned soul from this material universe. Even if they accidentally chant, He gives them mercy. Verse 3, Rupa Goswamis wrote every verse of Sanskrit with a totally different meter, so I'm not able to do full justice. I'm trying my best. Yada bhasho fuddhyan kavalita bhavadvanta vibhovo drishyang tadvandhanapi disati bhakti pranayini janastasyo dhatang jagati bhagavan namatharane kriti te nirvaktum kaiha mahimanam prabhavati. Translation. O my dear holy name of Krishna, You are more brilliant than the sun. You are so merciful that if someone utters you out of fear or merely as a namavash, imperfect stage prior to offenseless chanting, even then your mercy is so great that you destroy their material ignorance and binding attachments to conditioned life and gradually bless such conditioned souls devoid of spiritual knowledge with transcendental knowledge of devotional service to Lord Sri Krishna. O my dear holy name, who in this universe can sufficiently glorify your transcendental qualities, even amongst the great realized souls? All glories unto you. We know how Ajamil, a very sinful person, had, out of fear, just chanted the name of his son, Narayan. But somehow, out of fear, when he chanted the name of his son, which is the name of the Lord, he was immediately delivered. It's saying here that the Lord is so mercy that even if just out of fear or in some imperfect way of joking or in some other very casual, very imperfect type of chanting, if one chants very attentively, by the Lord's mercy, material ignorance is destroyed. Ajamil's ignorance was destroyed. He became fixed in pure devotional service. The binding attachments to conditional life, everything was destroyed just by chanting the holy name out of fear of death. And that was also not perfectly chanted. He was chanting, actually calling his son. So who can glorify sufficiently the holy name's mercy? You know, if normally you consider someone worships the Lord with perfect devotion, perfect concentration, 100% pure devotion, then we know that, well, a person can be given this highest benediction of life. But the holy name is so merciful, even imperfectly. Somehow out of fear, you just somehow, Hare Krishna! If you just shout out sometime, you get startled or something. You know, the husband comes to beat the wife, Hare Krishna! Just, anything. That may be enough right there, that all material ignorance is destroyed. Such is the mercy of the Lord. Holy name. So we pray to the holy name. My dear holy name, all glories to you. Great devotees, the great liberated soul, they knew that Krishna was present in his personal form, dancing on the lips while they chanted the holy name. For them, it wasn't a mere vibration, but they realized that Krishna was present, that was Krishna. The holy name is Krishna. Therefore they pray to the holy name as a person, as cognizant, as the most merciful. Verse 4. Jadvrakha sakhat kriti nishtayapi vinasamayati vinanabogai apaiti nama swaranena tatte prarabdha karmeti viroti veda. Translation. By unbroken and concentrated meditation upon the impersonal Brahman, one is unable to destroy the primordial sinful and pious karmic reactions which lie beyond the immediate renunciation of material enjoyments, but come from time immemorial. However, my dear holy name, by your vibrating on the tip of the tongue, in other words, by merely pronouncing you, these primordial karmic reactions are destroyed. How many people here know what prarabdha karma is? Prarabdha karma. So there's explained here that there's two kinds of karma. There's the karma that we know we can suffer for even 100 births back, the reactions to our activities. That sometimes we get hit by a car or bit by a bumblebee or whatever, that may come from this life or 10 lives or 50 lives, even 100 lives back. This type of karma already got destroyed very easily by chanting the holy name accidentally. Before, in verse 2. But it says also you can get rid of that karma by meditating on the impersonal Brahman. Not that only the holy, but you can get rid of that karma by meditating on the personal Brahman. You can destroy your karmas. But when the material world universe is destroyed and we're brought back in the body of the Mahavishnu, at that time there's some type of karma which stays with us. That's called prarabdha karma. So that when the new creation, there's no more material, the whole material world is wound up. Still there's some, modern technology, we'd call it programming, or there's some type of very subtle karma which is connected with that alma, that atma, that spirit soul. So when the new creation comes, then they again take up in their particular material activity. So here it explains that unbroken, concentrated meditation on the impersonal Brahmajyoti, effulgence, that effulgence which the great yogis want to meditate upon, or do meditate upon, that effulgence of coming from Vishnu, the goal of the Mayavadis, that even by meditating for millions of years on that impersonal Brahman, that prarabdha karma is not washed away. So that when the yogi again falls from the impersonal Brahman into the material world, again he takes up where he left off. Therefore that liberation or that meditation is not considered complete. But when we chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, these primordial karmic reactions are destroyed. Who can conceive the transcendental glories of the holy name? Verse 5. Agadamana yasodanandano nandasuno kamalanayana gopi chandra vindavanidraha pranata karuna krishna vityaneka swarupe taina mamarati ruchairi Tayi mamarati ruchair vidvitang namadeya pranata karuna krishna vityaneka swarupe tayi mamarati ruchair vidvitang namadeya. Translation. My dear killer of the Agasura, my dear beloved son of Mother Yasoda, my dear son of Maharaj Nanda, my dear lotus-eyed Lord, my dear beloved of the gopis, my dear Lord of Vrindavan, my dear worshipful, merciful Lord, my dear Lord Krishna, O my beloved holy name, in these and your countless other forms, you manifest your transcendental vibration in this world to deliver the conditioned souls from the bondage of the repetition of birth and death in material life out of your causeless and inconceivable mercy. My dear holy name, may spontaneous attraction for chanting you increase unlimitedly by your causeless mercy upon me. Krishna was present in different forms, different activities, or Krishna in the spiritual world, his different pastimes. The names which describe those pastimes, those transcendental names are also forms of the Lord. But those forms can manifest in this material world and thus free the conditioned souls from the repetition of birth and death. They can attract our mind to the spiritual world. So just as Lord Chaitanya was praying that Ihajani Anuraga, I'm not having any devotion no attraction for chanting these holy names. In the Shikshashtaka prayers, he was lamenting. Actually, if we simply had attraction to chant these holy names constantly, 24 hours a day, then that would be the most fortunate status of life we could ever achieve. So here Rupa Goswami, he is turning to the holy name to give mercy upon him to get attraction for chanting the holy name. In other words, someone says, well, I'm not attracted to chanting Hare Krishna. How can I get attraction to chant Hare Krishna? You can get attraction for chanting the names of Krishna by chanting the names of Krishna. By the mercy of the holy name, one gets attraction for chanting the holy name. So if you don't have attraction, then you should chant. Because by chanting, you'll get attraction. So he said in Bhagavad Gita, said in the beginning, medicine or spiritual life may taste bitter. In the end, it becomes sweet. Actually, the holy name is pure nectar. But due to our being in a diseased condition, we may not be able to relish or have attraction spontaneously for that nectar. But by chanting the holy name, then that spontaneous attraction develops by the cause, this inconceivable mercy of the holy name. So it's a totally complete form of self-realization. Takes one from the lowest condition of material conditioning, sinful life, to the highest perfection. This is further explained in the following verses. The question came up that who is more merciful? The holy name or Krishna personally in his visible form? Which form, visible or the audible form? What is more merciful? Which is more merciful? So, this is the subject matter of verse number 6. Vachang vachakamityudeti bhavato namasarupadvayang purvasmat parameva hanta karunang tatrapi janimahe yastasmin vihita paradhaniva pran isamantad bhave dasyene damupasya sopihi sadanandam buddho majati. Translation. Dear holy name, you exist in two transcendental forms or sarupas, namely, one form is your personal form of bliss as the Spirit Supreme living person, the object of glorification in transcendental sound. And two, another form is your form as the holy name, such as Krishna, Govinda, and other transcendental names which indicate or describe your transcendental pastime forms of bliss. You are one and the same, ever existent in these two transcendental forms. Of the two, I consider that your audible form as the holy name, such as Krishna, Govinda, etc., is more merciful than your visible personal form as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is because if someone is engaged in worshipping your deity forms and subsequently becomes implicated in offenses, and then takes shelter of your transcendental form as the holy name, chanting Krishna, Govinda, while worshipping you, my dear holy name, you out of your causeless mercy purify that person of all kinds of offenses, and he is able to relish the nectar of the unlimited ocean of transcendental bliss. Actually, in the age of Kali, the deity worship is not the recommended process of sacrifice. It was recommended in Dwapara Yuga. But of course, the authorities of the Acharyas on Bhakti, they have recommended that for keeping the devotees pure, for keeping the devotees in proper consciousness, that the deity forms of the Lord are to be worshipped in the temple. But we know that it's very easy for us to commit offenses to these forms of the Lord due to our fallen condition. Therefore, one is recommended to constantly chant the holy name of the Lord. By chanting the name of Krishna, then one is forgiven for the offenses committed to the deities. So this example, this is used also as an example here by Sri Rupa Goswami, that this is a proof that the names of the Lord are more merciful than the form of the Lord. And therefore, if you commit an offense to the holy name of the Lord, then who do you go to? It's like in commit an offense to a Vaishnava, like Durvasa Muni committed an offense to Ambarish, then he had to go back to Ambarish and beg for forgiveness. If you commit an offense to the holy name, you have to pray to the holy name, please forgive me for my offenses. And one has to continue chanting the holy name to get absolved of those offenses. Verse 7. Sudita stita janarti rasaye ramya chidaganna sukha swarupine nama gokula mahutsavayate Krishna purna vapushe namo namaha. Translation. O my dear holy name, O beloved identical form of Krishna in sound, the devotees who take shelter of your lotus feet through constantly chanting you are even saved from destruction due to offenses against the holy name, Nama Parad, out of your causeless mercy. You are manifest as the supreme personal form of concentrated, transcendental ecstasy. You are personally the form of transcendental happiness and a daily festival for the residents of Gokula, Vrindavan Dham. You are the full form of transcendental glory and eternal bliss through which you manifest through nectarian loving exchanges with your devotees. Therefore, my dear holy name of Krishna, I offer again and again my respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. Actually, one can have a personal relationship with the holy name. How we develop in our relation with the holy name, and how we try to chant Him offenselessly, how we chant with spontaneous relish or dancing and kirtan and harinam. This develops our relationship with the holy name. It's actually, the holy name gives the conditioned souls in this material world who are so far from the spiritual world an immediate avenue for relishing that supreme transcendental bliss. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, by chanting Lord Chaitanya's name, then by His mercy offenses are not considered. So by chanting the name of Lord Chaitanya, one can then get also the special mercy of... Someone explained that, Prabhupada explained, just heard this yesterday, when we were also, day before yesterday, we discussed these verses in New Orleans, New Talabon, that when one chants the name of Krishna, that prema hides. To see whether the person is actually chanting in pure devotion, this way it's like hides. But when one chants the name of Lord Chaitanya, then chants the name of Krishna, Prem goes looking for you. Knocking. I'm looking for you. We should be so respectful, so conscious of the holy name. But under no circumstances should we stop chanting the holy name. I met one person in my travels this trip who said that in studying some of the books and teachings about the holy name, heard that one should chant the holy name considering that one is floating in the ocean of bliss, and that the holy name is all pervasive around, and that this vibration is Krishna, and that every syllable should be so perfectly chanted and not mispronounced, and one should concentrate, Hare Krishna, moving the lips and the tongue, and to such an, and she, becomes so overwhelmed with trying to do all these things. At one time, she said that I used to chant 16 rounds, now I can only chant 4 rounds. So I stopped chanting. Because since I couldn't chant 16, and you have to chant 16 to get back to Godhead, and I was so offensive, and I couldn't float and simultaneously chant and pronounce and feel, and so I just stopped. What could I do? So I had to preach to her that it's for a higher level instruction for more advanced devotees. Don't, this type of things come automatically. What you should do is go on chanting. You go back up to chanting 16 rounds, and within that you try to just concentrate, hearing and pronouncing as best as you can. You don't have to really get so much into it that you can't chant. You just have to hear the mantra. If there's slight variation in accent, someone may chant with a Georgian accent or a New York accent, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You might have slight, Krishna can decipher who you're calling. He has that transcendental ability. So, I think that now that person is chanting again 16 rounds, so we shouldn't we should try to improve our quality, but not become, it's something that happens naturally. We shouldn't think that by mechanically somehow putting some imposition on the mind and mechanically by working at it in a very mechanical way that we're going to be able to chant the holy name. We should actually surrender to the holy name and know that the holy name alone, He will give us the mercy to be able to chant Him. By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And trying always to listen, trying to pronounce, but not to the extent of, become some mechanical exercise. It's not a mechanical, it's actually something which is from the heart. You're chanting, trying to please the Lord, trying to concentrate on the vibration. The Krishna's name does everything else. We should have this realization that it's Krishna's name that gives us the mercy to chant. It's not that simply by our own endeavor we can chant. It's by constantly chanting and trying to avoid offenses, trying to please the holy name, that we're going to, if we get the mercy of the holy name, then we'll be able to spontaneously chant. The whole purpose is to achieve spontaneous chanting, but that's not something that you can get by taking a pill or by simply exercising. That comes by the mercy of the holy name. This is indicated here. That kindly bless me that I may always be engaged in chanting you without cessation. We want the holy name to just dance tirelessly, you see, on our lips. So, let's read verse 8. Narada birno jivan sudharmi nirjasa maduripur Twang Krishna nama kamang swarame rasane rasena sada. Oh my dear holy name of Krishna, you are the life and soul of the Veena of Devarshi Narada Muni. You are an eternal tidal wave of full transcendental nectar. I humbly fall at your lotus feet and beg for your causeless mercy to make me always fixed in your service, so that you may always dance tirelessly on my tongue. Kindly bless me that I may always be engaged in chanting you without cessation. Our goal is not to chant only 16 rounds, but that constantly we can be chanting. I heard from one Brajavasi. You hear a lot of things from Brajavasis. He said that when Rupa Goswami was giving his lecture, he was so expert that he would, with one side of his mouth, he would be giving the lecture, and the other side he'd be chanting Hare Krishna. This is something I think very hard to imitate. he never stopped chanting the holy name. So, I've never seen anyone else achieve that. I won't doubt anything that Rupa Goswami could possibly do. So, the thing is that Rupa Goswami had this special mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He could see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day when he was in Puri. Yet, Rupa Goswami, he was constantly engaged in chanting the holy name. So you have those who are in sinful life, in the material world, they can chant the holy name and they can get freed from their reactions. They can come up to the spiritual platform. They can surpass the Brahmajyoti. They can get rid of their prarabdha karmas. They can achieve pure devotion for Krishna, spontaneous chanting. And even when they're fully liberated, like Narada Muni, playing on his stringed veena, his instrument, he is also enjoying unlimited nectar. Therefore, we should have the complete faith in the process of chanting, that this chanting, there's never a point where we need to give it up. In the Mayavadis, they do their pranayama, hatha yoga, meditation, until they finally, whatever, Jnana Yoga, Staina Vedanta, that's not their eternal goal. Once they realize the Brahman, then they, alright, finish all this stuff. You see, but in Bhakti we know the means and the end are the same. So this chanting, we chant as the means to become pure, and when we are purified, we continue to chant. The chanting never ends. But simply in a neophyte stage, when we chant, we may not relish that the Lord is, this holy name is the form of bliss. Actually, one of the purports of, originally Prabhupada said we could read this book of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by Professor Sanyal, but since Prabhupada published books, then we don't read that anymore. But I remember that there it explained, when we were allowed to read it, I don't read it anymore, but it explained how we could, that there's a stage when you first start chanting, then this is very hard to chant, you don't like to chant. Then there's a stage when you chant and it starts to relax you, and then you start to sleep. That's like an advanced level. I think many devotees have reached that level. Then you go to a stage higher than that, you chant and it wakes you up. Keeps you awake. And you start to get little energy from that. And most people in the material world, actually it's a big problem. The companies, you go to the drugstore, a whole section, sleeping pills. They can't even sleep. They're so tense and stressed and so much difficulty. So actually to first just take out the fire from their material anxiety, that's actually one stage of progress. But then in the perfectional stage, you go out, then you get a new spiritual energy. And then ultimately we don't want to just have that kind of bland calmness of impersonal existence, but to relish constantly the Lord's pastimes, His holy names and their different forms. This is a taste or a spontaneous attraction which through chanting to the mercy of the Lord, of the Vaishnavas, this becomes manifested. So and when one achieves the perfectional platform, then one is constantly chanting the holy name. You don't have to tell the residents of Vrindavan, all right, let's go, chant Hare Krishna, chant the name of the Lord. When you're churning the butter there, don't talk about Maya. You don't have to tell, because they have no other, they're mourning tonight. What is Krishna doing today? Where is Krishna? Krishna this, Krishna that. Hey everyone! The vibration is all pervasive, simply about Krishna. That is the wonderful nature of Vrindavan. Somebody going in and telling the Brijvasis that you better be Krishna conscious, that's totally, ridiculous. They're spontaneously Krishna conscious. They can't stop talking about Krishna. Even they try to stop talking about Krishna. Today we're not going to talk about Krishna. Krishna is always just cheating us in so many ways, and we're not going to talk about Krishna anymore. Today, this is the end. No more talking about Krishna. And they go on talking about why they're not going to, they can't stop talking about Krishna. Even if they decide not to talk about Krishna, they're only talking about why they shouldn't talk about Krishna. And in the end, they realize that they cannot stop talking about Krishna. So, that is the perfectional platform when we will spontaneously always chant the holy name of the Lord, where we'll constantly chant the name of Krishna. But since in the neophyte, in the beginning stage, we may not spontaneously be attracted to talk about Krishna, we may be more attracted to talk about Krishna's external energy. Therefore, we have guiding rules. Chant every day, 16 rounds, 10 the kirtans in the temple, and so on. So that this will give us at least a minimum amount of purification, so that eventually we will spontaneously chant the holy name of the Lord. But in the more advanced stage, one will always chant. Can't stop chanting. It's like the Nawab told Haridas Thakur, you have to stop chanting Hare Krishna. He said, it's not possible. If you don't stop chanting Hare Krishna, I'm going to cut you in little pieces. He said, you cut me in little pieces, as long as there's one little piece left, it's going to be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I can't stop. And he didn't stop. So, but we want that blessing from the holy name. When are we going to be able to constantly, spontaneously be chanting the holy name? When will, just as Narada's stringed instrument, his veena, gets nectar, gets bliss from chanting, from accompanying the chanting of the holy name, when will we also, our only life, our only treasure will be this chanting? We think other things are not very important compared to the chanting. The chanting is the most important. So someone who's developed that taste, and someone says, what are you giving to the people? How many hospitals have you opened? How many clinics do you give family planning, and how many this and that? There's no understanding what is the value. They think that you give some material thing which has got a beginning and end, which is, in fact, it's so foolish sometimes, the things they do to so-called serve the people, that they don't realize that actually what they're doing is harming the people in so many ways. Materially even, what to speak of having no spiritual value whatsoever. Actually, we're giving people the most valuable thing. We're giving them the holy name. This is so valuable that you can't put any price on it. But people are so foolish, they're so bewildered by the external energy that before they can appreciate the value of the holy name, it takes a long time. We can't even tell them the glories of the holy name, because if we told them, they wouldn't believe it to begin with. Because therefore, one of the offenses of the holy name is telling the people who is the holy name before they have the spiritual ability to comprehend it. Because they may say, well, how can that, just chanting some vibration is all that? This happened, Haridas Thakur was preaching, and then he said the holy name can deliver, just by one chant of the holy name you can get liberation. Liberation is nothing. Someone said the goal of life is liberation. He said liberation is nothing. It's insignificant. By chanting one time Krishna, you can get liberation. The goal of life is love for Godhead. And then that person, he became so angry, said, what do you mean? It takes great yogis, thousands of births, meditating, doing pranayam, then they achieve, after many births, that Brahma Jyoti. You're saying one time, you say the name of Krishna, and you can achieve that liberation. I don't believe it. If this is true, then let my nose fall off. And if it's not true, let your nose fall off. I curse you. Your nose will fall off for blaspheming that great process of Mayavadi Yoga. Within 3 days, that Brahmin got leprosy and his nose fell off. Because it's a true spiritual reality. That the name of Krishna is so powerful, even one offenseless chanting of the name of Krishna you can achieve what would take thousands of births of mystic yoga practice, of impersonal meditation. So then who in their right mind would take that process and avoid chanting the holy name? Only someone who is totally bewildered, insane, or just completely in the mode of ignorance could fail to see or to take the advantage of this benediction of the holy name of Krishna. But unfortunately, there are many fallen souls, and there are even many so-called pseudo-spiritualists that are missing this opportunity. Yesterday, one lady came to me and was saying that my kundalini opened up, and when I went out into the supermarket, I was so overwhelmed by the things that I saw and felt that I had to run back in my house. It was just too much. What to do? To chant Hare Krishna. So that's why people, when they practice the Eightfold Yoga system and they start opening their chakras, including their kundalini, they stay up in the Himalayas in some cave because you don't want to be caught in a supermarket with your kundalini open. They never come down to the supermarkets. So, people are so bewildered, don't have proper spiritual guidance. And therefore, they're missing out on this great opportunity. So we should have that mature conviction, that faith, understanding of the actual mercy of the holy name, the position of the holy name. We have the product that there's no comparison. We have the most valuable thing to give people. Now it's simply a question of how, because they're in a diseased, bewildered state, how to somehow or another get them to take it. That's why Rupa Goswami said, Yena tena prakarena Krishna manani vostate. By any means, if you can get them to take Krishna, all credit. That's any means you can do it. First get them to take Krishna. Get them to take the holy name. Get them to somehow or another accept Krishna consciousness. After that, then you introduce rules, regulations, introduce whatever other detail. But first, somehow or another, just get them to start practicing something. Rules and regulations come later. First, get them to come up to the point of practicing a little devotion. Then, to purify them, to protect them from becoming contaminated, then you show them how to remain pure by following rules, regulations, and avoiding offenses and so on. And then when they come to the perfectional platform, the spontaneous platform where they're always chanting, well then, automatically liberation and mystic powers, cleanliness, knowledge, they all stand waiting to serve the devotee. But the devotee doesn't want their service. He wants to serve Krishna and enjoy seeing Krishna be pleased, Guru be pleased, no other desire. Bande rupa sanatano raghuyago Sri Jiva Gopalako. Bande rupa sanatano raghuyago Sri Jiva Gopalako. Bande rupa sanatano raghuyago Sri Jiva Gopalako. Any questions? The Sri Krishna Nama, Ashtakam by Rupa Goswami, glorifying holy name of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says by saying prayers like this prayer, one can get absolved from offenses of the holy name to the holy name. We should make prayers to the holy name, because only the holy name can forgive us for offenses we make to the holy name. He realized he made a mistake when his nose fell off. And yeah, he later became a devotee. Haridas Thakur wasn't pleased and wasn't happy that his nose fell off. Or that it wasn't. He didn't curse the Brahmin. The Brahmin cursed Haridas Thakur, and it came back on him. If you curse a devotee or curse someone who's more spiritually powerful, then it's very dangerous, because then the curse will come back to you. If you try to do something against a spiritual person that's not spiritually correct, then the same thing will come back to you instead. So therefore one has to be very careful. Just like where Brahma, he tried to use his mystic power against Krishna, instead it came back on him. Where Dravasa Muni tried to set the demon after Ambarish, instead he had the Sudarshan Chakra come after him. People try to do black magic and voodoo and things, and they cast it against someone who's too spiritually powerful. Then the thing will come back to them. So it's very dangerous. Haridas Thakur, he's a well-wisher for everyone. But the person cursed him, that you're going to lose your nose. So instead he lost his nose. Because Haridas Thakur was right. This person didn't know. Haridas Thakur quoted the Vedas, quoted a sloka where it said, it wasn't just like some sentiment, he quoted that here in the Vedas it says that by chanting Hare Krishna, by chanting the name of Krishna, you can achieve liberation. But the person, he doubted the Vedas even. That's why the people who follow impersonal gurus, they know something about the absolute truth. We even use some of their examples, or the same examples. They use our examples for explaining what is Maya, what is the spiritual world, in terms of, what is spirit and what is matter. They know up to the Brahman. Some of them anyway. But they don't know what goes beyond. They don't know the potency of Krishna. Here it says Hare Krishna on this book stand. Very nice. Sanskrit. Huh? If you could, find that verse, I'd like to. Because there was a girl in Bolivia. She asked me that it seems like there's two people inside me. One is a demon, one's a devotee. So if we have that verse, she'll be very encouraged. So therefore, when our mind gives us a suggestion, and you'd have to find that purport. I'm not personally acquainted with it, but we know that the mind can be our friend or our enemy. It states in the Bhagavad Gita, it can be a demon or it can be a devotee. If we use the mind, if it helps us in remembering Krishna as a friend, and if it helps us in remembering Maya as an enemy. So therefore we should purify the mind by chanting Hare Krishna, train the mind to be a friend. But when the mind comes up with some crazy idea to enjoy the material world, then we should renounce the mind. We should renounce, not the mind, but renounce that thought. We should kick it out and bring back, and use our intelligence to bring back a Krishna conscious thought, something pleasing to Guru and Krishna. Bring back the holy name. Hare Krishna. What is this nonsense? Get out of here. It's not, it has nothing to do with our eternal existence. It has nothing to do with us as a spiritual entity. It's simply a reflection of the material activities and conditionings that we have had in this birth and in so many countless births. So we don't even, have to dwell on it. If some crazy thought comes, we should just, reject it. This is just some garbage from the depths still being cleaned out. Like when you sweep house, some dust comes up. So that doesn't mean you to stop sweeping. Just keep on sweeping, and then after the dust settles, you put water down and wipe it out. And pretty soon, eventually, there's no more dust comes up. Like that, it's like Gundicha Marjana. We have to clean our consciousness so that all of the dirts are finally, once and for all, eradicated. So it's late. We want to get everyone to come to the morning program. So I'm going to end it here. Hare Krishna. Anyone who wants prasadam who didn't get, is welcome to come up.